Geronimo's Revenge. It's a 4-paper day today. We're going to start with the Sun. I don't know why. No, we're going to start with the Times. We're going to go to Sun next. Then a speed run through... sorry. I'm going to correct myself there. We're going to start with the Times. We're going to do a speed run through the Mirror. Then we're going to do the Sun, and we're going to end with the Daily Mail. Don't normally start with the Times, but fuck it. Why not? Hey, Markinosis, how you doing? Good afternoon. How are you doing? I am very tired today, but going to get myself energized, drink some mustard, do the show. Hey, Slingamaya, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. Right. Let's start with the Sun. We will be doing the Are You a Snob quiz from the G2, which is from the G2, from the Times 2, that's promised at the top of the shop here. Interesting thing that there is some Prince Andrew coverage in all of the papers today, but a kind of... I just ate a sandwich, a sort of a homemade version of a Subway, and it was good. Yeah, there's quite a lot of Prince Andrew stuff in here. Pseudo-sympathetic from the Times, brutal from the Mirror, etc. Right, other stories on the front page. Health Service hiring dozens of managers on up to £270,000. I guarantee you at some point in here they talk about it being more than the Prime Minister's paid, which is a weird metric, really, because the Prime Minister is sort of Prime Ministers are sort of paid in a delayed fashion, in that their possible earnings become vast once they cease being Prime Minister. Just ask the not at all corrupt David Cameron. Right, so anyway, here we go. What else have we got on here? KPMG aims for a third of its staff to be working class. Weird, like, odd definition here. Well, not odd, definitely, but they define it as having parents with routine and manual jobs such as plumbers, electricians, butchers, and van drivers. I feel like they're kind of stuck in a past era. I think the working class is, a modern working class is a broader church, and actually, for instance, plumbers, I have people in my family who are plumbers. While it's a manual job, while it's a trade, a plumber probably makes more money than a lot of people who work in offices. So the notion that, and then there was something on the radio this morning, someone saying, well, it used to be because you had a parent or grandparent who lived in a house with an outside toilet. Well, that was all of my grandparents and my father. So that would class me. It doesn't. It's weird. Anyway, I'm not quite sure how KPMG thinks it's going to achieve it or how it's going to achieve it, and I have a feeling that it may be like a lot of diversity schemes, a kind of sop rather than a real move to diversity. Right, inside the paper, there's a big ad for M&S. Then on pages 4 and 5. Lorry drivers will get fast-track tests to avoid Christmas chaos. Can't wait for, speedily trained truck drivers, tearing around the roads. Michael Schumacher's wife has talked about what it's like living with him still deeply injured. He is... yeah, he's... I don't know where they put... Yeah, it's a very sad story, that. It's a very sad story. On page 7, more Geronimo shit. Yes, an information war has broken out over whether results of Geronimo, the alpaca's post-mortem examination, show he had bovine tuberculosis when he was culled by government vets. Helen MacDonald, his owner, veterinary nurse who owned the stud male, said the initial findings showed Geronimo did not have the disease. However, Dr. Christine Middlemiss, the UK's chief veterinary officer, said a number of TB-like lesions were found during the examination and that further tests would be carried out. Bob Broadbent, a former president of the British Veterinary Camelid Society, so he hasn't got any, pre-existing thoughts on this, said there was scant information given to McDonald by the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, revealed they found 3 lesions which were atypical, as in not typical of TB. He added, could be old scar tissue or fibrous tissue. Finding TB means you would find lesions, but finding lesions doesn't mean you found TB. Asked whether an infected animal could show clear post-mortem signs of of TB. Broadbent said, if you picked it up 4 years ago, I would have expected there to be more evidence. But TB can lay dormant for quite a long time. Geronimo was euthanized last month at McDonald's farm near Wickwar in Gloucestershire. Helen McDonald was on the radio today claiming she didn't know whether the DEFRA officials had strangled Geronimo to death or not. So there you go. Reached for comment. So Keir Starmer could just be heard sharpening a knife and saying, I will kill again. That may or may not be fake news on my part. Mark Knossos, my uni has an alpaca, llama and goat society. Well, that's kind of cool. Pages 8 and 9. Insatiable NHS still unlikely to live within its means, says the Institute for Fiscal Studies. Think tanks. Mark can't join because he's not an alpaca, llama or goat. Also on page 9, Johnson refuses to set date for clearing COVID waiting lists. Of course he does. Quentin Letts has compared Prime Minister's questions to Hemingway. Fuck Quentin Letts and fuck that headline. Yeah, I agree. Javid, we're still the party of low taxes and Thatcher, he says. You're still the party of Thatcher? And who the fuck cares about being the party of low taxes? Only nut bars. I very much doubt they strangled Geronimo to death. Exactly. Studying Fangirl. Hello. On page 11, there's a story about a stately home. Countess Bathurst has admitted that human waste was being spread at Siren Park in Gloucestershire. She posted on Facebook, we have to hold our hands up on this one. The farmer's been spreading biosolids on the fields for next year's crop. If it's any comfort, we suffer just as much at home too. So yeah, people in this village are complaining that literally the village smells like human shit. Caroline McShane, who lives locally, said she's used to country smells, but then a Cirencester was disgusting enough to make you gag. Lady Bathurst added, apologies for the pong, the wind let us down. Slickmire, I agree. The mainstream media portraying the NHS fiscally irresponsible as opposed to chronically underfunded. Mark Knossos said they hired Jeff Capes to strangle Geronimo, taking time off from his shop, Jeff Capes' Cape shop. There's an absolutely massively, once again, distorted story about Jess Brammer and that news and that job at the BBC. I mean, it's like the headline is "Editor behind anti-Brexit tweets set for top BBC role." The tweets were not as the way that they're presented here, and even if they had been, and then she's talked about as clashing with Kemi Badenoch, the Treasury Minister, when in fact Kemi Badenoch had attacked one of her reporters and she simply defended the reporter. Then there's presentation of comments by Jacob Rees-Mogg without context. If you want to know anything about that story, scroll back a bit through the newsletter archives and you'll find a newsletter about that. Today's newsletter is about... What is today's newsletter about? David Iranovich. He's behind you in his fake leather jacket. So do check that out. An online tool for people to test how privileged they are by answering a series of questions about their social standing has been criticised as nonsense by a former minister. It's from the BBC. It's called Ally Track. It was launched by the BBC in November last year. It's accessible to members of the public and other organisations. You answer a series of questions to determine your place in a privilege race. The interesting thing about this, and it does show a failing of the BBC, is it almost nothing about class in there. It is a shit quiz, basically. It's a really kind of it's focused on only certain areas, and it also shows a kind of really clumsy approach to talking about how privilege actually functionally works. Is the minister extremely privileged? Let's see which minister it was. It's Sir John. It's former minister. Yes, it's Sir John Hayes, and he is chairman of the Conservative Common Sense Group of MPs. Which, you know... right, moving on. TikTok pushes children of 13 towards sex and drugs videos. This is a bullshit scare story, which comes from a Wall Street Journal misunderstanding of how TikTok works. Mark Knossos, no more privileged discourse. Society has passed the need for privileged discourse. Rather, society has shown it's not responsible enough to handle privileged discourse. Yeah, that's a good... I mean, there's an argument there. Biden's triumphalism long forgotten as US surges past 40 million cases. Is the report on COVID for there? Again, you know, just There's a mad story here. Listening to Bach or Beethoven could leave you reaching for the biscuit tin, but turning down the burgers, a study suggests. People preferred sweet foods when they listened to classical music compared with jazz, hip-hop, rock, and heavy metal, researchers found. They were more likely to offer both unhealthy sweet foods, such as chocolate, as well as healthier sweet items, such as low-fat milk. The scientists discovered that eating with the likes of Elgar on the radio appeared to turn people off savoury junk foods, such as burgers and chips. This seems fucking stupid to me. And this is from the journal Food Quality and Preference. They studied this with 800 participants who listened to 20 different tracks from 4 genres of music. Hip-hop tracks included California Love by Tupac and Dr. Dre, and Thrift Shop. It's not even this one good hip-hop track there. The rock metal section featured Iron Maiden's The Trooper and Metallica's Master of Puppets. Classical soundtracks included Salut d'Amour and Air on a G-String. Air on the G-String. Hello, C122H122. Did Neon Lady. Classical music turns you into a treat boy. Mark Canosis. People preferred sweet food such as lollipops while listening to classical music and wearing a little sailor suit. Yeah, pretty much. The most famous trance from Westminster could be a transtular. Right. Cronus, Gavin Williamson's pet tarantula, may have been misgendered. Boy spiders live up to 5... It can't be saying male spiders. Male spiders, 5 years, but female spiders can go into their 20s. Cronus is well past their 6th birthday, Williamson says, choosing pronouns carefully. Lest Cronus, who was named after a Greek deity, cancel him. We've come to the conclusion that Cronus is a goddess. Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. This on the day that on the day after Williamson managed to misidentify 2 very famous black sports people. Jesus fuck. Right, moving on. On page 19, Duchess stands by wedding vows to Andrew. They got divorced. Sarah, Duchess of York, has said she still stands by her marital vows to the Duke of York, declaring the divorce is one thing, but my heart is my oath. Fuck the pair of them. Just concrete them up. Just put them in there and concrete them up. Royals turn out for BBC's Philip tribute. Prince William, Prince Harry and Prince Andrew among senior members of the royal family who reflect on the life of Prince Philip in a landmark documentary. If Prince Andrew is going to be asked questions about anything, he should be being asked questions in an orange jumpsuit in the US. A council accidentally rejected planning applications, adding sarcastic joke responses during what it thought was a test on a dummy website. One applicant, a charity boss at an animal sanctuary, was told her application was turned down because your proposal is whack, with a second comment adding, no mate, proper whack. I mean, this is just funny, isn't it? An application to change a butcher's in Sittingbourne into a hot food takeaway with delivery service rejected with the blunt response, just don't. Swell Borough Council in Kent now faces paying thousands of pounds to reverse the decisions after being told by lawyers they were legally binding. It said the blunder was made by a junior officer at Mid-Kent Planning Support, the office that deals with online planning matters for the authority, while testing the online system with what they thought were dummy decision notices. After the council was alerted to the error, decisions were removed from the site. However, legal advice taken by the council confirmed that it would have to spend £8,000 to formally overturn the decisions. There you go. Author Susanna Clarke, who wrote the book Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, became a bestseller, but then chronic fatigue syndrome struck, leaving her incapable of making decisions and stilling any prospect of a sequel. She's celebrating last night after her long-awaited second novel won the Women's Prize for Fiction. Judges called Piranesi a truly original, unexpected flight of fancy. Clark, 61, has spoken of how chronic fatigue began affecting her after her first book, which she published in 2014, and sold 4 million copies. The author said the syndrome left her unable to decide between one version of sentence and another. It was only when she was invited to the set of the BBC television adaptation of the book, a series broadcast in 2015, that she believed it was possible to write again. When Piranesi was published last year, the Times hailed it as a set of ideas that will stay lodged in your head long after reading. She was given the £30,000 prize at a ceremony in London. Bernardine Evaristo, the Booker Prize-winning novelist who chaired the judging panel, said, "We wanted to find a book that we'd press into readers' hands. Clark tells us something profound about what it is to be human." Well, that's great. They do a stupid panel here where they talk about writer's block. She didn't suffer from writer's block. She was suffering from serious illness. Jesus fuck. Mark Canosis reminds me of one of my favourite Onion headlines. Typo in Proposition 8 defines marriages between one man and one wolf. Slinkmeyer, good for her. Chronic fatigue is a fucking bitch. Exactly. Okay, the comments aren't that funny, but the comments are legally binding is hilarious. Yeah. What's the infanticide? Fergie needs the money, yeah. The Scouts have created a new thing called the Squirrels Program. It's for children aged 4 or 5. Squirrels will be rewarded with badges for developing outdoor skills such as pitching a tent or planting seeds, and life skills such as how to spend 50p in a shop. Fine. You know, good, grand, lovely. Frozen, the Frozen musical at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane gets 4 stars. It's called a visual feast to warm even the coldest of hearts. Bet you it couldn't warm mine. In the comments section, David fucking Aronovich is back on the war drums. Ooh. No one tells Winston. No, I don't think they've reorganised Beavers. I think Beavers is just the next stage up, maybe. Anyway, comment section. We have learnt the wrong lessons from 9/11, says David Aronovich. Please read today's newsletter about this and please share it because, our badges are subspecies of coins. We can only conclude that, yes, that is the case. So anyway, do consider checking out today's newsletter because it is about this Aronovich column where he writes about how he believes we wouldn't intervene in another Rwandan genocide. Well, we didn't intervene in the first place. And do you know that there was Western intervention? There was Western intervention by the French. And the fucking French contributed to the genocide happening. There's a report came out in April this year from the Rwandan government that came to that conclusion. So anyway, do check the newsletter out. Please share it. This one's, I think, maybe just not hitting as many timelines as it normally does. And I'd like to give it a bit of a boost. Janice Turner is terrible. Max Hastings says, Charles can only succeed if he learns humility. Bollocks. Who wants to analyze coins taxonomy with me? I feel like that's something that needs to happen in the Discord, definitely. And Ian Martin says, Tories are no longer the party of business. The PM's decision to pay for his social care at people with reckless tax rise shows he doesn't understand the economy. Ian Martin would never raise taxes. He would just bring them down forever until we just fought in a Mad Max style for all resources. Moving on, today's birthdays. John Preston, journalist and author of The Dig, A Very English Scandal, Fall, The Mystery of Robert Maxwell, he's 68. Lord Bill Bradshaw, Liberal Democrat politician, is 85. Michael Bublé is 46. Angela Cartwright, the actress, is 69. Nice. Patrick Collison, the entrepreneur, co-founder and chief executive of technology company Stripe, is 33. David Gold, the businessman, co-chairman and West Ham United Football Club, is 85. Rachel Hunter, the model and TV presenter, is 52. Natasha Kaplinsky, the newsreader and TV presenter, is 49. Duncan Kentworthy, the film producer of Love Actually, amongst other things, is 72. Sir David Klennerman, the biophysical chemist, professor of biophysical chemistry in the Department of Chemistry, University of Cambridge, fuck, they couldn't have made that harder to read, is 62. Peter Kyle, Labour MP for Hove and Shadow Minister for Schools, is 51. Sir Anthony May, Lord Justice of the Appeal, President of the Queen's Bench Division until 2011, is 81. Graham Onions, real name, cricketer for Lancashire until 2020 and England until 2012, is 39. Professor Richard Penty, engineer, master of Sydney Sussex College, University of Cambridge, is 57. Reuven Rivlin, President of Israel until July 2021, is 82. Julia Sawala, the actress, is 53. Richard Sharp, rugby union player for England until 1967, is 83. Professor Sir Adrian Smith, mathematician, President of the Royal Society, Director and Chief Executive of the Alan Turing Institute, Vice Chancellor of the University of London until 2018, is 75. Professor Sir Ralph Spee, the Chief Executive of Jaguar Land Rover until 2020, is 66. Dave Stewart, the singer and record producer, Eurythmics, is 69. Dr. Shirley Summerskill, the Labour MP until 1983, Home Office Minister until 1979, is 90. Chaim Topol, the actor and singer, is 86. Sir Keith Willett, Professor of Orthopaedic Trauma Surgery at the University of Oxford and Medical Director for Acute Care in NHS England, is 64. And Michelle Williams, the actress, is 41. On this day in 1087, William the Conqueror died, having been injured weeks earlier by the pommel of his saddle during the Battle of Mons. The last word today goes to Whoopi Goldberg. Speaking on the Today Show in 1986 and quoted in the biography, Whoopi Goldberg on stage and screen. She said, "Actresses can only play women. I'm an actor. I can play anything." Right. Stunning Fangirl says, "We miss Rivlin. His replacement sucks." Slinkermeyer wishes a nice birthday to Dave Stewart. There's a good article by Vijay Prasad on the French-sponsored intervention of Mozambique. Speaks to French involvement in genocide, says Dubhane. Hey, Dubhane, how you doing? In the world news, my family's starving. I have to sell my daughter, is the quote on top of Anthony Lloyd's report from Kabul. In Russia, Putin praises loyal minister who died in cliffall. Ringmaster Trump gets ready to rumble, is the report from Washington. Remains of 2 9/11 victims identified as the UK mourns atrocity, writes Will Pavia in New York. Teenager switched at birth in Spain is seeking €3 million damages, as well she might. In Japan, I can be Japan's first woman PM, says Old Rocker. She's actually a right-wing nationalist. Credit Suisse has shut Ai Weiwei's bank account. The Chinese dissident artist Ai Weiwei has had his Swiss bank account closed because of his criminal record, despite him never having been charged with an offence. In France, Salah Abdeslam, the only surviving attacker in the Bataclan attacks, has said that his profession is Islamic fighter. The CDU leader in Germany hopes Macron will halt his election slide. Angela Merkel's Christian Democratic Union has turned to President Macron for support as it limps towards the polls, suggesting it may have its worst election result. Armin Laschet, 60, the CDU leader, whose prospects of winning the chancellorship have faded markedly in recent weeks, travelled to Paris yesterday in the hope that an appearance alongside Germany's closest ally would revive his ailing campaign. Bog follows, big follows, fig follows, fog follows. Yeah, thank you. Can you? 92 can't be bothered with whatever. I need to raise some more people to the status of the mod squad. So if you want to be in the mod squad, let me know, and I'll do that after the show and put you into the mods so that you can send big follows into the darkness. Apparently, developers want to wipe out Al Capone's former Miami home. On Palm Island, Florida's general agreement that Al Capone, a former resident, did not lead a life of moral rectitude. However, there is now a dispute over whether the white waterfront home where the gangster is said to have planned the St. Valentine's Day massacre should be robbed out or preserved for prosperity. It's clearly the second one. The bishop berates Prosecco makers over use of dangerous pesticides in Italy. A Sicilian teacher took 769 days off in 3 years. A maths teacher who took 769 days off work in 3 years has been exposed as a fraudster after police discovered he was working across Italy as a consultant. The 47-year-old Sicilian, who has not been named, racked up 459 days of sick leave and 300 days of parental leave to take care of a small child while he was meant to be teaching at a school in Pordenone in northern Italy. The teacher relied on a constant flow of medical certificates supplied by his family doctor in Agrigento, Sicily, until frustrated colleagues lost patience and called the police. By tracing the man's toll road payments and his hotel bookings, investigators established he was far from bedridden and had rarely been at home, but was instead crisscrossing Italy on consultancy contracts, which earned him $97,000 euros over the period. His contracts with the Italian government, which included working for the environmental ministry, meant he was pocketing 2 state salaries at once. After judges declared that they could seize the $97,000 and $13,000 euros in sickness and childcare benefits the teacher had accrued, his lawyer tried in vain to get proceedings shifted to a court in Sicily, suggesting that his client would receive fairer treatment there. The case is second involving crafty Sicilian civil servants to emerge in recent years after a doctor from the island succeeded in putting in only 15 days of work in 9 years by combining lengthy bouts of sick leave with training courses. When exposed in 2014, he replied, "Going on courses is normal, and I am being punished for developing my understanding." Oh, the neck of that guy. The top price of calling in sick, however, has to go to a fire safety official at a hospital in Calabria in the toe of Italy who drew his salary without showing up for work for 15 years until he was discovered by police this year. Salvatore Scumanche, 66, was alleged to have avoided scrutiny at Pugliese Siazio Hospital in Catanzaro after he threatened a personnel official. Incredible. Nice. Recursive Rose, Your Honour, he is guilty of living his best life. Full support for doing a second job when you're supposed to be doing a first, says Farage's fuckface. Incredible scenes. I'm pro this guy. Getting back his surplus value, says Dubhane. Pope blesses prisoners with 15,000 ice creams this summer. Apparently the Pope has sent. Sorry. The Pope sent 15,000 ice creams to prisoners in Rome. Right, time for us to do the snobbery quiz. Are you ready to do the snobbery quiz? This written by Stuart Heritage. On the opposite page, the Cotswolds might now be the silliest spot in the country, says Sophia Money Coots. Blessed ice cream. That's a day-to-day headline, absolutely. Studying Fango has ice cream. Nice. Okay, here we go. Feel free to put your answers in the chat with the number of the question that you are answering. What type of school did you attend? Boarding, modern comprehensive, the school of life, mate. Well, that's B. Pronounce the word Magdaelen. Is it Maudlin, Magdalene, or no? Thank you for redeeming Hydrate. None of the but yeah, it's one of those quizzes. Very annoying. What is the most impressive thing you've gained from your education? A, lots and lots of important friends in every corner of the British establishment. B, I got a job doing the thing I studied for. Pretty good, right? C, I think my mom still has my national record of achievement, if that's what you're asking. Ugh, I'm going to skip some of these. Very boring. You're in a supermarket buying wine. What do you pick? A, I'm sorry, I'm in a what? B, I read all the labels and make a decision based on what strikes the best balance between quality and price. C, an Alco Pop. This is very much extremely classist by Stuart Heritage, isn't it? While he's thinking that he's really getting at the rich people. 9, where did you go on holiday this year? As usual, we summered at the farmhouse in the Cotswolds. Is A. B, we managed to get abroad. The COVID test quite pricey, but you can't put a value on sunshine, can you? And C, in a tent in the rain for one night in a field 3 minutes from my house. And question 10, in your opinion, why is the country still obsessed with class? Easy, it's because John C. from the Squash Club still has his knickers in a twist about going to Harrow, the pleb. B, because class lays bare the unfair privilege of the wealthy. And C, it isn't only posh people are obsessed with class, the rest of us sort of get on with it. Fuck off! That's not true! Not only posh people are obsessed with class. Anyway, here is what he said. If you put mostly A's, afraid you're a snob. Mostly B's, you're trying. And mostly C's, you're a reverse snob. So unfunny. So unfunny. Hugely unfunny. Anyway, and then another thing. Candida Crew wrote this article. I broke free of my family's Oxbridge obsession. Cambridge professor Mary Beer says we're education snobs. I was too, says Candida Crew, until I failed to get into Oxford. And my sons didn't even try. My God, imagine just getting commissioned to write an article about how you didn't go to a particular university. Fuck me. I also failed to get into Oxford. I didn't apply for Oxford. I applied to Cambridge, where I actually went. But then no one in my family had been to any university, which is whatever. Right, moving on. A prince's retreat from lawyers. Andrew has left Windsor for Balmoral as US Attorney Circle, reports Damien Whitworth. It's the perfect discreet hideaway, says Hugo Vickers. Can we not turn it into a thing, like a fucking property story? Jeremy Langme tried Anthony Gormley's giving guests a lump of clay at the start of a dinner party thing. It didn't work out well. I mean, he only did it to write a column. Michelle Roux talks to Michael O'Dell. He says, losing my father and uncle, nothing prepares you for that grief. Yeah. 5 British stand-ins for Italy's king of cheeses. British cheeses you can use instead of Parmesan. I guess they're going to get us sorted with this as more and more food slides out of the supermarket. Kid U92, my school told me I was a failure and disappointment and was letting the name of the school down by not going to Oxford. Fuckers. Mark Canosis, look, I get 2,000 a year bursary from my uni because no one in my family went to uni, so I'm okay with class obsession now. C122, H122. I didn't get to university, so don't know what I should do. You could write an article about the University of Life or some shit. Yeah. Moving on, my key to happiness, a young lover, dirty jokes, and magic crystals, says Marina Abramovich, 74. TV reviews, Grenfell, the Untold Story got 5 stars. Garbage people got 4 stars. Right, let's see what the obituaries are like today. King United, yes, fucked up place. State grammar school that really wanted to be posh and private. Sometimes they're the worst. You went to Leicester instead. Oh, cool, what did you do? Quite like Leicester. Been there a few times. Ernst van de Wettering, a controversial and prickly Dutch expert on Rembrandt, that means he was a prick, whose word on what constituted an authentic masterpiece was regarded as final, has died. He was 83. Anthony Scotto, union leader, philanthropist and convicted mobster, buried the lead there, whose political connections included Lyndon Johnson and Bobby Kennedy, has died. He was 87. And Brian Travers, founding member of UB40, who set political protest to a musical beat and co-wrote Madame Medusa, an attack on Mrs. Thatcher, has died. He was just 62. Very sad. He had a brain tumour. Slinker Meyer went to a private girls' school for 2 years and it turned me into a massive goth. Mark Canosa, I don't have all your fancy degrees and diploma because I went to the University of Leicester. It's a great place. Maths and astronomy. That's fucking cool. Oxford Fury over QC's Cayman case. Magdalen College students say president's role in gay marriage case is a stain. Yep. They're trying to sell you raw food for dogs. They're trying to get you to go on a cruise. And in the golf, Poles ruin England's perfect record. Poland won, England won. England is still top of the group. And Fairy Tale of New York, Emma Raducanu stands only 2 victories away from most astonishing Grand Slam triumph by a British player in history, and fearless 18-year-old says she's driven by a hunger to win every single match I play. King United 2, went to 3 universities starting on an L and now a postman. C122, H122. I did go to the same schools, both Victor Anichebe and Cherie Blair. Okay. Unfortunate on the Cherie Blair count. Right, time for a speed run through the Daily Mirror. Let's do the roll call first. Hello, I'm the Broken Bottle Boy. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy. Why not? Why not? It's a good thing to do. In the chat also, another TT viewer, Ash Flaps McNulty, Billy Wilder, C122, H122, Chaim Revivo, Clara Bow, 82, Commander Root, Dovehane, hey Dovehane, Farage's Fuckface, always good to see you, Fast Deb, Hosso312, Kinyu 92, thanks for your contributions to the chat, the ever reliable Mark Canosis, Pantomime Horse, good to see you, Pops, Passing for Human, Recursive Rose, Red Tickseed, Rimastino, Slinker Maya, Snur, Spike Trapch, Claire, Studying Fangirl, at the Neon Lady, and the always excellent V and K. Thank you all for being here on this Thursday episode of the show. Right, let's do the. Let's do the mirror. Speed run through the mirror. Can I do this in? I think the current record for the mirror is 2 minutes. So I'm going to try and do it in 1.5 minutes, which is, I mean, frankly, stupid, given that I'm already feeling overheated. But fuck it, let's do it. Okay, here we go. Just replying to person in the room who's off at her friend's 50th birthday. Right, boom. 1 minute 30. Right, here we go. Front page of the Mirror. A Piers Morgan exclusive. Sadly, it isn't that he's being fired into space, but more that he just wants a TV award. Obviously, they report on the Poland-England match. And then the deluded prince, Andrew plots royal return. Seriously. Right, there's unseen pictures from Only Fools and Horses. Prince Andrew genuinely believes he'll be back in public life by next year. What the fuck? Too little, too late. New levy won't meet urgent need is the claim on the government's new proposals. Premium Bond. Daniel Craig is happy that he played Bond. Piers Morgan says he wants to defeat Ant and Dec in a TV awards. The Marcus and Mara Minister mix-up is how they cover the Gavin Williamson thing. Attenborough says there's a change in the air over the climate crisis. The heat wave didn't last very long. Schumacher's wife says he misses her She misses him every day. IVF samples were all I had left of my husband. Now I will bury them by his tree, says Tilly Geidel on the 20th anniversary of the loss of her husband in 9/11. Cindy Crawford has recreated her Pepsi advert from 1991. Britney's now freed from conservatorship, at least from her father. Colleen gives advice. And in the sport, Warsaw. Kane's wonder strike in vain as Poles spoil England's perfect World Cup record. Boom. Precisely 1 minute 30. There you go. Exactly, Slinkermeyer, Prince Andrew should return to public life in fucking handcuffs. Deluded is a weird way to spell nonce. Yes, and great news for Britney, though I'm sure it's possibly more complicated than that. Right, now we are going to move on to The Sun before we crash inevitably into the Daily Mail as the final paper of the show. Right, absolutely like brainworms story from The Sun as its main story today. Got to do the Sun voice for this. PC Brigade's new outrage. Churchill charity wipes iconic PM from own site. Our wokest hour. Right, so here's the thing. They've not wiped his name from the site. They've changed the name of the charity from the Sir Winston Churchill Memorial Trust from the Winston Churchill Memorial Trust to the Churchill Fellowship. So the name is still there, right? And then The Sun claims that this charity has wiped all pictures of Sir Winston from its website. I haven't checked yet, but I've got a feeling it's bullshit. So here's the text of the article. A charity set up to honour Sir Winston Churchill sparked a woke storm by changing its name and erasing him from its website. The Winston Churchill Memorial Trust has rebranded itself the Churchill Fellowship and removed every picture of the heroic wartime Prime Minister. Its volunteers accuse the trust of rewriting history. One source says, it beggars belief that a man who saved this nation in our darkest hour finds himself cancelled in this way. Guarantee that quote was written by someone at The Sun. Elsewhere on the front page, their beloved Priti Patel, who they insist on just simply calling Priti, says that they say she vows to send the boats back. What she's vowing is to attempt to change maritime law and potentially cause many more people to lose their lives in the channel. So, psychotic. Then, of course, coverage of the England-Poland match and coverage of Emma Raducanu in the US Open. Inside the paper on page 3, that isn't page 3, but is page 3, model Hannah Cooper is seen modelling. She's wearing a bikini. She is the wife of Joel Dommett. Great, whatever. I mean, model does job, whatever. TV cook's gone sacks mad, it said. Jamie Oliver has bought all his male employees new pants after having a eureka moment in his boxer shorts. The culinary whiz, nicknamed the Naked Chef, says his downstairs world was rocked when he discovered a super snuggly brand called Saks. Dad of 5, Jamie, likened it to being cradled by an angel. Right, who's invested in these boxer shorts? I bet he has. Total bullshit. Right, here we go. Here's more on this absolutely fucking bullshit made-up Churchill story. Churchill erased from own charity? And headline, never have so many been upset by so few. Widespread anger has erupted after Sir Winston Churchill was cancelled from his own charity. I suspect there was no fucking anger till The Sun put this in the paper. More Churchill erasure, yeah. The outrage has been caused by the few chiefs of the newly renamed the Churchill Fellowship who've dropped all pictures of the iconic wartime PM from their website. A 1,400-word tribute that talked about a much-loved leader with bulldog spirit who had a love of brandy and cigars has been axed. A list of his achievements and a full biography has also gone from the site, which was there when it was the Winston Churchill Memorial Trust. Impossible to know anything about Churchill, isn't it? Impossible. Without this tiny charity's website talking about him, we'd never know. He's been cancelled. I can't even remember. I look at him and I think, is this a dog who sits on a parcel shelf selling insurance? I just don't know. Now his face is not seen once, yet there are numerous pictures of the chief executive, Julia Weston, and her board of trustees, and a racism disclaimer is now repeated across various pages of the charity's new website. The woke attack on Winnie triggered a backlash from critics, including the charity's own volunteers. Yeah, because you phoned them up to ask them, didn't you? Red Tixie, wonder if there was a mention of any mention of Gallipoli of Tony Pandy. Nope. ACAB means all Churchills are bastards. I 100% guarantee they'll have got a quote from his grandson in here, because Nicholas Soames, they normally do. The boss, who according to official documents is paid between £90,000 and £100,000 a year, it's pretty standard salary for a charity CEO. I've got my objections to that, but in her LinkedIn, in an online blog, I love how they write this, in an online blog, as opposed to what other type of blog. And also, it's not a blog, it's a blog post, you cunt. Racism is unacceptable, the charity claims. In an online blog headlined "Racism Unacceptable," the charity claimed there is a controversy about Sir Winston Churchill's life. There is! And that it disagrees with his racist views. That's fine. It goes on to praise his zest for life and details his love for painting and travelling, and calls him a leading social reformer. The charity's patron is the Queen, simply says it was set up by a nation grateful for its wartime leadership, and that he was a hugely respected Prime Minister. Then repeats the racism warning, saying of Sir Winston, many of his views on race are widely seen as unacceptable today, a view that we share. Go... If you're not up on this, and I know you lot are, but if you're not up on this, again, go and check out the newsletter. I did a thing last week about this, looking into and laying out again Churchill's racist views and how he was considered racist even at the time by contemporaries. So it's not, it's just in the future, now in the present we just judge him by our contemporary mores. No, there were other Tories who went, yeah, Churchill, bit racist. Like, even the racists at the time were like, he's a bit heavy racist, isn't he? Then repeats the racism warning. Another said the New Look charity was bandwagon... Oh, there's people saying it's bandwagon jumping. The Churchill Fellowship's Board of Trustees includes Sir Winston Churchill's grandson, Jeremy Soames. Last year, the group notched up an income of £1.3 million. Sir Winston's been criticised for his comments and views from more than 80 years ago, including a belief that Britain should rule India. He later privately denounced his comments. Fuck off. For decades, he later privately denounced his own comments. Yeah, as if. For decades, sent British citizens abroad on travel scholarships known as Churchill Fellowships. Last night, the Churchill Fellowship said the decision to change its name was made 2 years ago, and that the key element, Churchill, was kept. Bosses added that the COVID pandemic has prevented the charity sending Brits abroad as usual, and the funds had instead been directed to helping people affected by the disease. The spokesman said the foundation remains proud of our connection to him and his contribution to saving the world from Nazism. But he added at the same time, some of his views on race are widely seen as unacceptable today. Yes! Woke war rages. Sir Winston Churchill's incredible legacy has come under a growing attack over recent years, writes Ben Leo. Oh, fuck off the lot of you. Not you guys, these guys. On page 7, picture of Cindy Crawford. Also, Gav's way off the mark. Gavin Williamson ran into a race row. Yes, they ran into a race row. No, he just was racist. After mistaking Maro Itoje for Marcus Rashford. It's not like they come from completely different parts of the country and play completely different sports, and we're talking about completely different things to help children. One, Marcus Rashford, school meals. The other, Itoje, talking about getting more computers for kids that need them. Both great, MPs back, PMs gamble as Tory rebels abstain. £453 million a day is how much health bosses will be spending. Amid growing fears, the NHS will be swallowing up all the cash from the PM's tax rate. They talk about the NHS as if it's like a monster rather than actually a service that serves people who pay taxes in this country. Yes, Alistair Campbell's repeated hilarious tweets with him next to various black men who he was pretending he was mistaking for Marcus Rashford were racist. In the Sun says they call the NHS a money pit. That's because they want to privatise it. On page 11, sex claim royal in retreat. Andy runs home to his mom. Summit at Balmoral with the Queen. He held lunchtime talks with the Queen yesterday. He even fucking had lunch with us. What he had, he didn't fucking have lunchtime talks. Pages 12 and 13. Celebrities will be honouring our health heroes at the Sun Who Cares Wins Awards. This is fucking deranged, right? Even by the Sun standard. Here, we're honouring our health heroes on pages 12 and 13, while on page 10, the Sun's leader column calls the NHS a money pit. Moving on, wine is good for your heart. Apparently Rod Little is a piece of shit. I cannot. I'm not dealing with him today. Fuck him. On page 19, they cover the Geronimo thing. On page 23, Britney set free by dad. Gives up Guardian role. Set free. Fuck him. A cop accused of sex crimes is working as a primary school teacher after quitting the police during a misconduct role. The former PC, who cannot be named, was accused of twice flashing a female colleague while on duty. His force proved his resignation, even though a probe into allegations was still ongoing. Incredibly, senior officers did not pass the case to prosecutors, and the man is said to have been asked for it to be removed from police files. He retrained and later taught at 2 Midlands primary schools. If this is true, and of course it's the Sun, then insane. Right, taken as read. Study confirms more Man U fans live in London. Oh, fuck off. The Ron and Only Alone fan shows his appreciation of Cristiano Ronaldo's Man United return by waiting outside the club's training ground with a homemade welcome back sign. All this propaganda for Ronaldo. His agents are working, agents and PR people are working heavy shifts to keep the rape allegations out of the papers, aren't they? Fired for 3 nugget canteen route. An office worker won more than £5,000 after he was sacked for complaining about being served only 3 chicken nuggets in the staff canteen, is the claim. No, there will be more to it than that. There is all... Yeah, he received the funds for unfair dismissals. Nothing to do... Fuck you. On pages 28 and 29, Daniel Craig and his struggles with pressure on Super Spy role. I hated the fame that came with Bond. I felt mentally under siege. We've heard this so many times. Ant Middleton could get revenge on the Channel 4 bosses. You axed him from SAS Who Dares Win by making his own copycat show, he says. I bet he doesn't get to it. Flashing. Gotta love the minimising language. Yeah, it is a sex crime. It is a sexual assault. Oh, Jesus. Last night's TV Celebrity MasterChef they review. Tonight's TV picks National TV Awards, Killing in Tiger Bay, and Michelle Roux's French country cooking. In Fab Daily, Jenny Powell, who I remember well from children's TV when I was a kid, and being the Wheel of Fortune assistant. She says she's looking very well because of yoga, and she has a toy boy. It's funny because Martin's 6 years younger than me, and I remember my daughter Connie saying, "Does that make you a cougar?" And I had to go and look it up. God, whatever. Anyway, she's looking well. In Dear Deirdre today, living with ex is awful for me and teen girl. My husband and I separated a year after 10 years of marriage. Very difficult for his teenage daughter. Wife looking for stranger to bed. I was gutted to discover that my wife has joined a website for married people who want to hook up with each other. We got married 19 years ago, and I thought she was happy with our relationship and our sex life. Perhaps you should have asked her before you discovered that. I want gay sex with my half-brother, says someone else. Partner is dying and I'm so worried. Oh, God, that's horrendous. And just too soft to break up with him. I know I should break up with my boyfriend, but it's easier to send him out to the pub, says a 31-year-old about her 36-year-old boyfriend. Even through the headline, it's clearly unfair dismissal. 6 years wouldn't be even mentioned as an age gap if she were younger. Yeah, or if the genders were. Rise of the tweet men. More men than ever are having cosmetic surgery, it says. Okay, fine, I guess. Mark Kenosis. I also want gay sex with that guy's half-brother. Nice. The £50 letter today comes from Shirley Crosby, causing disgrace to my home county of Norfolk. She says, "There's no point in blaming Boris Johnson for hiking up national insurance, despite saying in his manifesto he could not increase taxes. He didn't know COVID would strike and the government would have to pay furlough. Someone must sort out the social care and the NHS, and money must come from somewhere. Also, pensioners can't expect an 8% rise. The country can't afford it. I'm a pensioner and I would love it, but I understand it's not possible. Get real, you moaners. Money doesn't grow on trees." I lost my accent, I couldn't be bothered. Anyway, fuck off. Trying to sell you flowers. See you, Dub Hain. The £50 letter, you get £50 for that, yeah. Coins, 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 coins. Yes, it's coins time. Who writes a £50 letter? Do people with... who writes a £50? People with a lot of time, yeah. Anyway, today's coin is once again, they're trying to sell you the 2021 gold sovereign. It's gold. It's a sovereign, and it's 2021. Look at the queen. Get the queen. £319. Coin. Mark Canos is hearing rumours there might be a coin. Anyway, that's a coin. It's the same coin, though. We haven't had a lot of variety in the coins recently. Sun goes with the same headline as several other papers for Emma Raducanu's success in the US Open. It's Fairy Tale of New York. Of course, that's a song about two drunks having a miserable life. So, Kid United 2, I refer everyone to the Florian Laurie sketch about writing to the Daily Mail. C122, H122, yeah, very expensive coin. And on the back page, Emma is flying first class, and damn and blast, injury time blow after Kane, cracker, and clubs let stars play. Furious Premier League clubs about to fight FIFA if their South and Central American players remain banned this weekend. Brazilian FA chiefs yesterday triggered a rule which stops English sides from picking samba stars they blocked from playing in World Cup qualifiers. But top flight bosses believe they can persuade FIFA to allow the 11 affected players, which include Manchester United's Gabriel Jesus and Edison, to be made. Yes, Mark Canos is also a song about straight people loudly yelling the F slur and looking at their long-suffering gay friend for approval. I would simply not play the song with that slur included in it. Red Tixie, we need to have the gay sex with that guy's half-brother coin. I think stepbrother? I don't think it was half-brother. That would be I think it was stepbrother. Was it? I'm now doubting myself. I've to go and go back and check. No, it is half brother. Okay, that's even worse. No, yeah, it was half brother. Step brother stuck in Daily Mail. A free fit. I'm not clicking that link. I'm not clicking that NSFW link now. Right, okay, here we go. It's time for the Daily Mail, our final paper of the day. Where did I see a thread about Roman sex coins? Studying fangirl. I don't know. Yeah, don't click on it now. Mark, I'm never going to click on a random link from you in the middle of the stream. Oh, the Monkey Dust BBC. Monkey Dust is so good. Right, Daily Mail trying to offer you £5 off at Lidl. Exclusive with Cressida Dick poised to get 2 more years. Group of leading figures wronged by the Yard pen damning letter to PM demanding Met chief must go. To be fair, she should go. On page 3, Rada, can you believe it? History in the making as British teen tennis star wins place in US Opens. There's the open letter to Cressida Dick. She has presided over a culture of failure and cover-up. She has. She should have never been made. Never have got that joke. Anyway. King United 2. Any coin is a sex coin with enough lube. Oh, Jesus. So people who've signed that letter, Lady Britain, Paul Gambaccini, Nick Bramall, whose father, Lord Bramall, was accused of being a sex offender and it turned out to be false. Baroness Lawrence, Michael McManus, and Alistair Morgan, whose brother, Daniel Morgan, was killed in an axe attack in a pub car park, and was a private detective. And yeah, many links to newspaper companies in that case. See you tomorrow, Studying Fangirl. Thank you. For the sake of our lost loved ones and all the lives ruined, the Dame has to go. Remember the rest of the... if you're leaving now the show, you can catch the end of the show in the VOD or on the YouTubes, where I will be putting it up. They cover the Cindy Crawford thing, more stuff on the tax hike, a thing that nature's deadliest predators and dragonflies are now spreading their wings across Britain, as Horatio Clare discovers on a glorious pond safari. They take the opportunity to put a picture of Mario Itoji with his top off in the paper. Frozen the musical gets 5 stars from Daily Mail. There's more stuff on the betrayal of Afghan translators. Celebrity school catch-up class. Various people offer help with different lessons, including the awful Dominic Sambrook for history. On page 27, crisis ravaged Andrew's log cabin subbit with the Queen. He went for lunch with her. On page 29, Geronimo's post-mortem pantomime. DEFRA says alpaca test shows signs of TB. Protesters say, oh no it doesn't. Oh, fucking hell, piss off. 30 and 31, it's potty to rethink the war on... Is it potty to rethink the war on drugs? No, but... Because there is no... If there is a war on drugs, drugs are winning. September 9th, 2021. September 9th, 1940, in the Daily Mail, they wrote, London, despite a death toll of 400, and with 1,000 to 1,400 injured on Saturday, calmly went about work of reorganising essential services after the attack. The Germans claim to have damaged selected military objectives, but neutral observers are united in describing the bombing as completely indiscriminate. The Daily Mail and all newspapers were pretty much under direct government control at that time, so... September 1974, Evel Knievel failed last night in his daredevil attempt to jump the third of a mile wide Snake River Canyon in Idaho, America, but he escaped with his life. His steam-powered rocket parachuted onto a ledge near the bottom of the 500 feet deep canyon. Happy birthday to Dave Stewart, 69, nice. Julia Sawala, 53. Also born on this day, James Hilton, born in 1900, died in 1954. Author in Lancashire gave us the word Shangri-La, a fictional utopia in his novel Lost Horizon, but he was best remembered for Goodbye Mr. Chips, believed to have been written in just 4 days in 1934, and Margaret Tyzack, the Essex-born actress who played Claudius's mother in I, Claudius, born 1931, died 2011. On this day, September 9th, 1791, the US Capitol was named Washington, D.C. in honor of President George Washington, and in 1985, Philip Schofield presented the first live children's BBC from Television Centre's Broom Cupboard. Quote of the day, anyone who lives within their means suffers from a lack of imagination. That's Oscar Wilde. And joke of the day. Where do toads leave their jackets? In the cloakroom. Right, moving on. They cover, of course, the trial of the Bataclan attacker in Paris. In Female magazine, M&S meets its toughest and most loyal critics, you. So they basically get some readers in to say whether they like the new M&S clothes. Should mums be able to leave work early for childcare? Yes, says Helena Morrissey. No, says Belle Mooney. I mean, I say it depends. Mark Kenosis, that joke has ruined your day. My beef with the avocado army. Kate Mulvey, who loves eating meat, says she's tired of being steak shamed. Who the fuck is steak shaming you? Rachel Johnson, the Prime Minister's sister, writes, the lesson I've learned from meeting with Jab Genius, win or lose, I love all that Emma Raducanu does, pitfalls of living and loving forever, and the positive test I secretly long for. She's talking about pregnancy, and why it's a non-starter for 10. She's talking about being on University Challenge. I mean, who gives a fuck? Jenny Murray is away. Want to keep the magic alive? Never let your man see you without makeup, says Charlotte Tilbury, who made her money from selling makeup. Why I'm proud to be a woman of a certain rage, says Georgie Hall, the writer who did chick lit novels under the name Fiona Walker. I hate them chick lit, but that's what it's described as here. This thing about a woman who escaped the Taliban, meet the woman who only date dads. For many singles, dating a divorcee with several children in tow will be a deal breaker, but for a new legion of child-free women, being a stepmother is the key attraction. I mean, is that a new thing? Blind date, Jean, 63, went out with Khaled, 73. She said 8 out of 10. He said 7 out of 10. They both had coffee. But I think they just want to, that no sparks flew. TV reviews, Animals Cameras got 4 stars, for Pete's sake got 4 stars. In the cartoons, Garfield's talking to the mouse. In Chloe and Co, they're outside, not drinking, but talking about men. And in Fred Bassett, he's looking at the clock, and then he gets called for his dinner, and he's delighted that it's arrived just on the dot. Dilf Hunters, says Mark Kenosis. Yes. In straight to the point letters, Colin, I'm not doing the poems today. I cannot. No, I'll do the poem. You better move on. Right, is the poem today from Sheila Webb of Chesham, Buckinghamshire. They started in the 60s, the new kids on the block, and then by the 70s, they sure knew how to rock. Tabloids were buzzing with their naughty ways, and even the Beatles couldn't keep up back in those swinging days. The punk and the glam rock eras started fighting back, but still they just kept rolling, led on by Jumping Jack Flash. They rocked and rolled for many years, never easing back on the action, and unlike their most famous words, they got their satisfaction. But now is surely the time to stop, and though they will be a great loss, sadly those ancient Rolling Stones have started to gather moss. He doesn't scan! He doesn't scan! She's from Buckinghamshire. It's going to be bad, says the Neil lady. And the limerick today comes from Ken Irons, real name, Newport, Isle of Wight. Sleepy Joe thinks he's such a smart man for abandoning Afghanistan, which meant his troops and ours, to avenge the Twin Towers, wasting lives fighting the Taliban. Sleepy Joe thinks he's such a smart man for abandoning Afghanistan, which meant his troops and ours, to avenge the Twin Towers, wasted lives fighting the Taliban. Yeah, that's awful. That's all. They are getting worse. Every day it gets worse. We are... King United 2, total nuclear disarmament, I bet, for the one we drop on Buckinghamshire. Suez Canal briefly got blocked again, but was sadly resolved quickly. I didn't, and I am sad it got resolved quickly. Colin Drury writes, how long before Wimbledon's Hinman Hill becomes Raducanu Rise? Oh, God. Barbara Napier says, sitting in the sun in the garden, no planes, gliders, traffic, lawnmowers, phones, doorbells, TV or neighbours talking. Bliss! But you had to write to the Daily Mail about it. Terry Coates says, glad to see Ronaldo enjoying the Manchester sun. He better make the most of it because by October his family will wish they're back in Italy. Mike Jones says, my wonderful bank manager was Mr. Lord of Lloyd's in Hertfordshire. Helpful, constructive, and a perfect listener. He even rang me at home to tell me my application for a business loan had been successful. What? Who cares? Why are you writing to a paper about this? Robert Reedman writes, Navy chiefs are worried the BBC submarine drama vigil will have a negative effect on recruitment. Anyone that easily deterred obviously lacks the right stuff. E. Christie says, why is the public asked for donations to Soccer Aid? Instead, each player in the Premier League should contribute a week's salary to a cause close to their hearts. And Brenda Spray, real name, in Essex says, I used to distinguish the members of ABBA as the blonde, the brunette, the chap with the beard and the other one. Now both women are blonde and both blokes have beards. Me. Today's best beer is Smoky Tomato Gazpacho, which I guess sounds fine. Trying to sell you vacuum cleaners. They're trying to sell you a little camera thing for helping you read better. They're trying to sell you various furniture. They're trying to sell you collagen. They're trying to sell you all sorts of crap. And in the sport, Queen of New York, Amazing Emma is first qualifier in history to make US Open semis, poleaxed England's perfect record, spoiled by last gasp equaliser. And that is, thank you for the hydrate. Mark Onotis, wonder if Brenda Spray is related to road rap artist Young Spray. We can only hope. The limerick was awful. Thank you for joining me today for this Wednesday show. I started a bit late, so it's finished a bit late. It makes sense. Time works like that. The show will be up on YouTube later if you want to watch back on it and think, or if you've missed any of it. Slinky Meyer is right. Charlie Watts is spinning in his grave. Do tell me your scores for the Daily Mail. For me, it's a quadruple negative nice. Remember, if you don't want to Thursday show, to this Thursday show, Wednesday show was yesterday. Thank you, C122, H122. If you want to support me, there's a couple of ways of doing it. Subscribe to the newsletter, subscribe for free, and then upgrade to paid if you enjoy it. And also, just chuck some coins into the paper fund. And lastly, if you've got Amazon Prime and you want to subscribe to the show, you can do that. It's basically free. So that's cool. Thank you, Slinky Meyer, for the classic quadruple negative nice. And the very last link I'll give you today will be to the Discord, which people have joined. And thank you. Good amount of activity in the Discord yesterday and today with people sharing both good and bad articles. It's also a good place to know when the stream is starting, and I find out other stuff, basically. Give me the link. Give me the link. Give me the link. There you go. Right. Cool. Thank you, everyone. I will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. for our final stream of the week, which will include a magazine special. Bye-bye.